All right, hello and hafa day, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk with Ken Nicholas. Although the man, the myth, the legend is in absentia once again. He's actually off on assignment. He's working on some really cool things. He'll be back really, really soon with his opinions and probably shooting down many of my own. But I'm Jason Salas. Thank you so much for joining us once again. And we have a packed studio right here in the KUM Podcast Network Studios room. We have the boss, Marie Calvelmange, who is here. Hello.
I'm filling in for Ken.
I cannot wait to be dismembered verbally by you, because we actually have known each other since we were like, what, 7th grade?
Yeah.
And since then, our opinions on TV, movies, and cartoons, and basically food and anything tend to, shall we say, fork.
Before the podcast network, it was water cooler talk, but now we get to bring it out to all of you, and then you guys can weigh in.
We get to open up,
shoot him down
my embarrassment to the world, and she signs my check, so it's not like I can have any counter arguments. But we shall try. And of course, for the second straight week in a row.
Wow.
Yeah. Bugs Bunny in the house.
Bugs Bunny.
All right, so Mariah Ramos from I-94.
Hello. Hi.
You totally crushed it last week.
Oh,
Speaking of which, I have some feedback before we get to today's topic at hand right here on the podcast. A SoundCloud user by the name, who goes by the handle Robot Eyes, and we know her very well because Gabby was one of our news photographers way back, very good videographer. Shout out to Gabby, we miss you. She actually said last week, remember we were talking about our favorite rom-coms, Mariah? Gabby actually says excellent picks, but if she could humbly add to the list, she also said we really forgot to mention The Holiday.
Oh,
that's a great one. That's a great Christmas movie.
Yeah,
and I love Christmas movies.
I thought she was talking about Roman Holiday, which is
which is why you are always the moderator of this show, but you know the least about movies.
If there was ever any episode I didn't want to do on YouTube, it would be this one, because you're going to see and probably hear my eyes roll. Okay, so that was her number 3. Her number 2 was Bridget Jones's Diary. Is it Bridget Jones's or Bridget Jones?
Oh, she likes British rom-coms.
Bridget Jones?
Yeah, Bridget Jones with Renee Zellweger.
Yeah, a British comedy with Renee Zellweger.
I was kind of young when that came out, so I was not allowed to watch that.
I didn't watch that either, but it has a really huge cult following.
Okay, and although we talked at length about Johnny Depp and how good he is in some rom-coms, and even Asha's back there working the cameras. Hi, Asha.
Hi.
She is a big fangirl of Johnny Depp, and we were talking about on the...
God, I feel like Jason just lies about a lot of stuff.
Nobody can hear that. Nobody can hear that. All right. Even though we talked about...
Embellish. Asha, the word is embellish.
We talked about Johnny Depp on the, the Leonardo DiCaprio podcast. She said her number 1 rom-com is Betty and June.
I've never seen that.
And we totally missed that one. And that
I don't like Mary Stuart... What's her name?
Mary Stuart Masterson?
Except for Some Kind of Wonderful.
Oh, yeah,
she was great in that movie.
See,
and this is what this is going to be. I really hate this person's work except for this, and this.
I'm sorry. I'm just...
So, Gabby, thank you so much. If you want to follow her on SoundCloud, she is at Robot Eyes. She's got really strong opinions, and she knows her horror movies because she and I...
Skype in with her in a future.
Right.
Since she's
totally got
a follower.
Gabby, are you down? We'd love to have you. Okay. But, of course, Real Talk is brought to you by Tango Theaters, our very good friends who very generously allow us to do this podcast. And you know what? They have a very special deal for you guys. Check this out. Because today's topic is the Oscar movies. We're going to talk about Best Film, Best Actor, Best Actress, because that's coming up on Sunday, right? Monday for us.
Monday
for us. So that's coming up. But to get you properly prepped and primed, and a whole bunch of other words beginning with PR, our friends at Tango Theaters are showing 5 of the 8 movies that have been nominated for Best Picture.
I see what you did there, PR, and then you go into the PR segue.
Yeah, public relations. See? College helps, everybody. All right. So our friends at Tango Theaters are showing Bohemian Rhapsody, Klansman, Vice, A Star is Born, so Asha's going to be there, and the favorite. Speaking of British things, the favorite. So spelling that with a U.
I'm excited to see that.
They've already started this promotion. They go until the 24th, so you have until Sunday to get absolutely ready for the Oscars. Remind yourself of why these movies have been nominated. Only $20. The promo also includes 50% off on the Filler Up Cup combo, which can be purchased for only $5 if you take advantage of this offer. And we really hope that you do, because we will be there. It's only at the Micronesia Mall. It's the 2nd year they've done it. It was wildly successful in year 1, so they're bringing it back. If you want to get super psyched up for everything that's happening with the Oscars, go check out our friends at Tango Theaters, and we thank them for their support of Real Talk right here. A day at the Oscars. And you've got until Sunday to do it. So once again, Bohemian Rhapsody, Klansman, Vice, A Star is Born, and The Favorite are being shown. Only $20, and you are going to have a blast. So, that having been said... Oh, also, I have one bit of old business to get to before we get to the Oscars. I got a little bit of a star endorsement a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
You know the little actress from Bird Box?
Yeah.
I said what a good job she did on Twitter. She liked my tweet. Thank you. She did a fantastic job, and I just thought she deserved that. Why is she not on this list? She did fantastic, but she did like my tweet, or her publicist liked my tweet.
Somebody liked your tweet.
Somebody liked my tweet.
Exactly.
All right.
She's probably too young to tweet.
And thus my parade has started, and they've already began to rain on it. And by rain, I mean piss. Okay, so here we are. We are in full Oscar season. Marie is actually the only one among us who has a academic background in movies. You actually studied film at Emerson in Boston.
Yes, I did. But with that said, I mean, film, it's subjective. I mean, even at that, this shouldn't be the end all and be all, the Oscars, if you like what speaks to you, and so it doesn't give me more authority to weigh in on who the winners will be. It's just...
But you do have a very strong sense, and because of what you do running this company, you have tacit knowledge of, the structure and the business and to a certain degree, a lot of the politics that go into preparing these nominees, which I really want to go off on in just a minute. Mm-hmm. And of course, Mariah watches everything under the sun.
I try to. It's
I have
a little hard
no idea.
You should I know Asha's doing the CGs, but she's like the pop culture aficionado. I think we should dub her that. Yeah.
And Uncle Ken is also here, of course, the disembodied voice, best producer in the business, running the boards, and he certainly is going to jump on it. Unfortunately, Frank Sinatra and John Wayne have not been nominated this year.
Jason.
No, he knows everything about John Wayne.
That's age discrimination.
Oh, boy.
That totally is.
Can you tell she's been through HR training? All right. Okay, so here we go. Let us start, my friends, right up at the top, and we are going to get started with Best Picture nomination. They are Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Black Panther, Black Klansman, Jordan Peele and Spike Lee. Right?
I think Jordan Peele was the producer, probably, yeah.
I didn't even realize that. Okay, Green Book, which we're going to talk about. Vice by Adam McKay of Saturday Night Live and later on The Big Short fame. A Star is Born. We can already hear Asha oohing and awing. And then Roma, which I know, Marie, you're going to get to in just a second. But I'd like to open this up and say... I watched Black Panther. I loved Black Panther. I read Black Panther as a kid. I was a huge comic book nerd. I still am to a certain degree. What they're doing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe is fantastic. The cross-promotion between theater and streaming and TV and intertwining these stories and introducing these characters and these rich, lush powers and adventures to a new generation is absolutely amazing. I'm so in support of that and what Marvel and Disney are doing. But Black Panther does not deserve to be on this list for Best Picture. And I say that only because...
Based on what?
Based on the fact that if it should win, personally, I can't see how you would hold Black Panther in the same pantheon as Silence of the Lambs and The Sound of Music, and
I feel like you're being
In the Heat of the Night, and films at that level. And Black Panther, great movie. I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. Mariah can probably jump in for the movement it started in that whole thing, but I didn't think it was that good that you deserve to actually have it stand along some of the best moments in cinema ever.
I would disagree with you because, again,
what a surprise.
I know it is subjective. I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago, they opened it up for, I think it used to be just limited to 7 nominees, and now, 5 nominees, and now it's 7. So it's kind of evolved where they can fit in different popular, films.
So by default, you've got a slot to fill. So
no, yes, but that being said, I still think that it merits being in this category. I think that, and again, call me a fangirl, the director Ryan Coogler, who's from the Bay Area, where I spent most of my adolescence and childhood, his story, I was watching, I think it was maybe a Vanity Fair digital media piece where he broke down the anatomy of a scene and just the meticulous detail that went into putting, and that was just one scene. I think it was the scene in the casino in Korea. Oh. He shot by shot identified everything from how he envisioned it to how everything from the music being played, the choreography, the costuming. there's just so much that went into this film beyond it. I think once you get past, and I think that's what your hang up is.
Did he come from
It's an action movie. It's a fun action movie. But once you get past that and look at like what went into assembling a film like this, you'll have more respect and appreciation for it.
Do you know if Ryan Coogler has a background in television, or did he work? Because it sounds like he almost takes like a showrunner's approach to doing a motion picture, which is a completely much larger
I think
scale.
he started with I may be wrong, but I think that his first feature film that he produced he's very young too, was Fruitvale Station. He works well with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
So he did that, and then Creed. He gained notoriety from Creed, and then Black Panther was like that big.
Is this your king? Is this your king?
Just cut it out.
Favorite line
So
of the movie.
that's
I told you I love the movie.
my
I just
thing.
I just can't put it
Because
side by side with
you're
The
trying to be
Godfather.
a snob about movies. I mean, for the thing is,
Movies
there-
have changed.
Forgive me and incriminate me for having high standards.
if you look, it's not about standards. It's not like, oh, this is just some like, B straight to cable type.
Oh, no, not at all.
No, there is so much that went into this. I mean,
And movies have changed.
Yeah.
And the way audience react to movies is different now. Like people my age, we love Black Panther because of what it represents, putting diversity on the map. We have a black director, all black majority black cast, and just that this is their story.
And then
They
the
can
Shield
own
agent,
this.
who was
And
like
then
the only white guy in the movie.
Another thing
But-
about Ryan Coogler is like, again, I watched this thing that really made me like the ultimate fan, right? I'm sure there are others, but everything that there's a sense of nostalgia that he weaves into, and you would think like, oh, nostalgia, Wakanda, but in forming different aspects of the movie, he thought like, I don't know, that fight scene between Black Panther and
Killmonger.
and Killmonger, the lights that went through, they resembled the lights on the BART. The BART is the Bay Area Rapid Transit System, which he was very familiar with, and what is really like the essential part of his first feature film, Fruitvale Station. So he put such like meticulous, like the attention to detail, and there's all these little, I guess your generation dubs them Easter eggs, right? There's so many things that I think just really, I mean, I think, you know what, I'm going to share that link with you because it may change your mind. I honestly,
it probably
really
won't. But I would.
yeah.
Okay, so well, the other thing about that was the penultimate scene, the battle scene. Before Killmonger. Spoiler alert. He dies in T'Challa's arms. But the other, I mean, you would consider it like an Easter egg, but also the illusion he's doing is that scene literally takes place in an underground railroad.
Yeah.
And this movie was, released during February, during Black History Month. Yeah. Mariah can speak to that because you started to bring us up at the end of last week's podcast about what the cultural impact was.
Yeah, I mean, it, like I said before, that it really changed, I think it changed cinema. To bring in a big, huge Hollywood blockbuster movie about, actors who were probably used to playing roles that are, gangster roles, or, just bringing, these kind of issues to light, but also in doing it in a way where everyone will enjoy it.
And I loved everything it did. You had female empowerment. You had like Lupita Nyong'o being, the warrior in the movie, who in many ways was superior to Black Panther himself. You had African American awareness. You had this African country, which, although fictional, was so high tech and so advanced that the rest of the world did not know about it because they chose to, hide themselves from society. Yeah. And it was fantastic. It's just, and I mean, looking right now, like I'm on the Wikipedia article right now on my laptop, The Deer Hunter, Kramer versus Kramer, Chariots of Fire, Gandhi, just going through like the years. Amadeus.
Yeah, but maybe at that time, because that movie, the Amadeus movie, it kind of did a tongue-in-cheek, right? It kind of retold the
Salieri
story. Yeah, exactly, in like a pop cultural sense. So maybe it wasn't well.
Okay, so obviously, if I was a smart man, and I am not, my list of nominations clearly would have been different. But people way more talented than me have assembled this list, and everybody's okay with it. So the fact that it's nominated, all right. If Black Panther should win as Best Picture, we come back today, and in a week's time they say, hey, Black Panther won the Best Picture, would you be okay with that considering the company it keeps?
Yeah, but I think maybe it's a good segue. I think I have an unpopular opinion about some of the nominees, though.
Been waiting.
I would be okay with Black Panther. What I don't feel, I mean, maybe it does merit in that it was like an epic biopic, but story-wise, I don't think it should be on this list, or I don't think it's going to win, is Bohemian Rhapsody. It was a great biopic. It told the story of Queen, and it gave you all. I mean, it played like almost in their entirety.
Yeah.
Played a lot of like that Queen music that we all know and love, and told this personal story. But I just don't feel it didn't merit enough of. It didn't have its own. It just felt like
soul?
Kind of formulaic, if you will. And that, it didn't really have the soulful sense.
Well, I thought
it felt very formulaic.
They took way too many creative liberties in actually trying to tell the story of who Freddie Mercury was, and they left out a lot. So there was a lot of guilt by omission, if you look at it like that. I mean,
yeah, and I mean,
he wasn't a saint. He was everybody that listened to Freddie, including myself, loved Freddie.
It didn't make him out to be. It did show,
His demons
a lot of the vices, but at the same time, it was just very Hollywood and vanilla and formulaic to me.
Now, Mariah, you are coming to understand.
But Rami Malek was excellent.
Yeah, you are coming to understand who Freddie Mercury was and the impact of Queen. And because you're a DJ, obviously you're familiar with their music, and I'm sure you get a ton of requests even to this day, even though the songs are like going on 40 years old. Yeah. But Marie and I kind of like we grew up kind of tangentially with that. We were like in grade school when Queen was in their heyday. What does your generation see about this particular film, and how do they hold it?
We liked it. I think it, like my friend, when we watched it, she didn't even know that Freddie Mercury died. So I was like, oh, well, usually, people would know that.
Oh, the end of the movie must have really sucked for her.
No, I told her, though, beforehand.
Oh. Well, that's another thing, too.
Just the fact that
maybe we're
he
more
held a press
jaded.
conference to basically tell the world that, okay, everybody has noticed that I'm becoming very gaunt. I want to tell the world I have AIDS, and the very next day he died.
That was you obviously did not watch the movie because they took some liberties in
and that is one of the things why people got really, really upset, because the true story is Freddie Mercury had that press conference and he died the next day.
I see. Yeah, it really made spoiler alert, right? But it started and ended at Live Aid, which was supposed to be the pinnacle of his. It showed where his life had gone, how big he became, and even though he was ill during that concert, he still commanded the crowd and had everybody singing along, and it really established him as a showman. And the techniques he used, and also it gave a little bit of background on the different members of Queen and how, but it at the same time did feel they kind of glossed over a lot of his
that's what I saw.
His vices and demons and where it didn't feel as gritty and raw as you would have thought it would be. I don't know, but people loved it because ultimately it came down to Queen arguably has produced some of the greatest music, right? That is on the pop culture.
And Rami Malek may be the beneficiary of of the committee's love in just a few days, but Sacha Baron Cohen actually turned down this role because the story wasn't enough about just Freddie?
He wanted it to be more about Freddie and
the vices that he had.
He wanted darker.
You can't tell the story of Queen with. Brian May himself as a guitarist. He was kind of like the musical impresario of that group. You had four. The
way that they were portrayed was very endearing. It was a nice story. It was a good feel good movie.
It was for families, so I think that's what they wanted. They wanted it as a universal audience. That's why they kind of glossed over things.
It was released widely during the holiday, so it was like a great movie to take your family to.
But you can't downplay the three other guys in Queen. The highest praise I've ever been able to give to and only two groups, it's Queen and Rush, where the fact that when you listen to them, you cannot believe that Queen is only 4 people. But that's what we're saying.
Again, you have not watched this movie, so you should take advantage of that $20 special. That the reason why Sacha Baron Cohen
product placement
he turned it down was because he wanted it to be more about Freddie Mercury. And so if you watch the film, you'll see that it really tells the story of Queen as a whole.
Okay. We obviously won't know because Sacha Baron Cohen walked away from it. But if he had done this and he had played this straight, and that's a very bad choice of words, and he really made that transition like Tom Hanks did, and Jamie Foxx has done, where you go from traditional comedy into serious role.
But it's a non-issue.
No,
and he's actually...
No, I'm saying, where would we actually hold Sacha Baron Cohen? Like right now, if he
know.
absolutely crushed it as playing
We're
Freddie
not.
Mercury
We're
in a
speaking
dramatic.
about hypothetical things that don't exist.
I would actually think that he would have taken his game.
How
to a
would you
completely
say that
different
if
level.
he hasn't even done it?
No, I'm just saying. Like, look at
I just feel like we're talking about nothing. Like,
well,
I've read that
His
they
loss.
didn't like him enough to be okay with how he
and they were
would portray.
producers, right?
Yeah, Brian May and Roger Taylor.
Well,
they
also-
didn't like him enough to.
Hey.
They were contention that he wanted it to be portrayed that way. They didn't want it.
Yeah, they
to.
had rights on
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Well, also, this is not the first time that well-known actors have stepped away from roles only to regret it later. Remember, Gene Hackman could have played Dr. Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs, and he didn't think it was such a good idea. Oops. Okay, moving on. This is not the only beef you have with these movies. I know there's one movie in particular you don't even think it should be in this category for best film.
What did you say?
For Roma.
Oh, no, I wasn't
it's more in terms
saying
of
that
format.
it should be in the category. I was asking you, as a techie Netflix fanboy, how they...
Did I mention that the girl from Bird Box liked my tweet?
How they get by, yeah, you started off with that. So how they get by with being in both a contender in the Oscars and the Emmys. I was just wondering how they fit in, because it's a feature length film, of course, but it's on their streaming platform, and they also, they've won a lot of Emmys, Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just curious as to how they're
when you usurp HBO, the perennial winner
but I
in
feel like
Emmys,
they
and when
found
you
the
win more than
loophole.
them,
Like, you wouldn't find HBO among these because they're
Right.
considered television, right?
I think
So
they
why-
kind of slide under the radar in the fact that because they are streaming, people still haven't really been able to regulate, for lack of a better term, like exactly what is TV and what is a movie. And right now that they
So
they
they
do
just
say,
slide into
yeah,
both.
I think the way they get past this is the fact that it is feature length. It's typically more than an hour, and the
Yeah.
fact that it's only one. It's not
There's only-
an
it's
episodic
standalone,
series.
yeah.
It's a single thing. Whether they have a sequel at some point, whatever. But they can actually, kind of slide into the criteria.
So that said, since did you watch Roma?
I did not watch Roma, but
Did you, Mariah?
No, I haven't.
I watched it over the weekend just because I kind of like to get a taste of.
and you've been looking
all of
forward to.
them.
You've been talking about that a lot.
Yeah, and it was beautiful to look at. And it really painted a picture of what life was like in Mexico City at end of I guess it was the late 60s or early 70s, but it was very minimalistic. And I don't know. It didn't feel compelling enough to be chosen. And if it is, I'll be surprised. It probably is just based on the cinematography and the risk taking, because it was all in black and white. But I don't know. I feel like, aside from the whole Netflix thing, it was good, but I don't think it was best picture worthy. It was just like a great very artistically driven film with a lot of symbolism, minimalistic on like dialogue and action, but
Okay. And
That's
now
my take.
to the movie that I would think most people in Mariah's generation would probably be rooting for, aside from Black Panther, maybe even more so than Black Panther, just because of recency bias. A Star is Born.
I have not watched that, actually.
what?
What?
Okay, switch with Asha. Asha,
I think
Asha,
I've seen it.
Asha, jump in here.
Thanks to my 17-year-old
Seriously,
daughter.
Asha, come in here, because we really need your
I've
opinion
seen
on
it
this. Seriously.
like going on
Come in.
five times.
No, go to the wide shot and come in here at least for a minute, because you
Jonah.
you really have to give like credence. Here she comes.
There
There she is. Miss A Star is Born fangirl.
Whatever.
All right, here she is.
I
Hello.
just love musicals, that's why. Or, well, I guess
Music
it wasn't really
driven.
Yeah, music.
It was beautiful.
We,
it was a
we-
beautiful.
We posed a
story.
question to you a couple months ago when it was the Golden Globes, right? We said if you had to pick one movie and one movie only to watch,
A Star is Born.
between A Star is Born and Bohemian Rhapsody,
I
you
picked
watch
A Star.
both.
Yeah.
Is this your front runner for Best Picture?
I think it is. I thought it was a really good movie. I thought it was well put together.
Mm-hmm.
And Lady Gaga was awesome.
She's also up
Yeah.
for Best Actress, which we're going to talk about at some point.
I mean, I know she's an awesome singer already, but seeing her act, I've seen her in a couple of things, and she was good. But seeing her in this one, really, I think she's a phenomenal actress.
And is Bradley
Yeah.
Cooper up for Best
She
Director?
really showed she's like that type of entertainer that can do it all.
And I don't know. I felt like the movie, it just gives you so much emotions. Like, I cried in the movie. If a movie can make me cry, it's a good movie.
Did you watch it more than once?
No, I only watched it once.
Well, yes. Shout out to my daughter, Reese, but she made us watch it like 4 times in the theater.
She cries each
Wow.
time.
And every time.
I have never been to a movie.
She cried like we were leaving a funeral.
You watched the movie 4 times in the theater.
Yeah.
How,
it became like a weekend thing. Like, oh, what are
4 successive weekends, or
I've done that before.
No, what we did is I think we watched it 2 together, and then we just me, Eli, and the 3 of us. But then, as other people have said they didn't see it, my daughter was like, "Oh, let's go!" You know, like
and you
she tried to
chastised
watch
me
it
for
with
not
you.
having a life.
Hey, it's her way. You know, when you're a mom,
Well,
it's like
you're a
that's her
parent.
thing, and we just want to do stuff together.
The closest
right?
I've ever come to that is I watched the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in 1988. The good Ninja Turtles, not the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles. And I watched a afternoon matinee. I stayed there for 5 hours and I watched it twice, but that was on the same day. And then
Mine was Titanic.
Really, I got.
How
many times did you watch Titanic?
And I was
the
a little.
whole
I was
thing more
like
than
5 or
once.
6 years old.
That
My dad
movie
took me
was
back.
Too heavy. Well,
That's like 19 hours of movie watching right there.
I know.
See, I don't know.
Oh my God.
I don't
Leo.
know if it's best. I mean, some would. Again, it's hard to say, but for me, I feel like it may not be best contender when looking at the other nominees, but definitely that song is iconic. Shallow. It's just like to the point where it's
in my
like
head.
people can't stop singing. It's infectious, right? And so if it doesn't win for best song, although there are some other good nominees there, but it's just one of those songs that it's gonna
But is Bradley Cooper up for
live
Best
on.
Director?
He may be. Yeah, we have a quick.
That's weird. A new I mean, the category is directing, and he is not.
Yeah.
All right, Mariah.
Okay, well, I mean, since we're on that topic, okay, the directing category and by Asha, hello. Okay, Black Klansman is Spike Lee, Roma is Alfonso Cuarón, Cold War is Pavel Pavlovsky, Vice is Adam McKay. I'm kind of pulling for Adam McKay because he, I think, is on track to be a massive hit, and maybe not.
See, but you go off of what people say. You have not
Nope.
watched Vice. You watched what was the other?
I watched The Big Short.
The Big Short. That is not nominated. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know, and I have been a fan of his since SNL.
But I can say the same thing about Spike Lee, right? You know, I'm like the ultimate Spike Lee fan, but do I think that Black Klansman? See, you have to judge it on the film itself.
I don't think he's an auteur, and I know that's you always go to like
again.
no,
You have not watched Vice.
Adam McKay. I don't think Adam McKay's. I think his writing is very good. I think the way he incorporates comedy is very effective. I don't think he's an auteur where he's like a master cinematographer and you can do everything without words.
What I'm saying is like every director, they have hits and misses. So I think you just have to judge on the particular movie at hand and not saying, I like him because he's done a great body of work. Because it's not like a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's an award for that particular film. So you can't say, I'm going for Adam McKay because you have not seen Vice.
And that is why I'll be at Tango Theaters this weekend checking out.
Yes, the $20 special.
$20. Can we?
I'll go with you. But let's all go.
Can we expense account that, boss?
I haven't seen. Sure, on me, or I'll take it out of my own personal.
Hey, there you go. We don't even have to expense account.
Wasn't that the old theme of the "Let's go to the movies"?
You're getting the music completely
I know, and I'm
wrong.
a terrible singer, and I
Let's all
forgot we're
go
on
to
video
the
now.
movies. No, remember
Oh
that?
yeah,
Remember
was that in Greece?
No,
Lobby.
that was the one with like the hot dog.
And now our show takes a nosedive.
Yeah, and then wow. Stranded at the drive-in.
Okay, so
Branded.
Black
Oh,
Klansman
cool.
was
Yeah.
good. I like, and again, it had all of those things. That
And now I'm gonna have "Oh Sandy" stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
Come to love
Thank you.
about Spike Lee,
Yeah,
I think.
okay.
But
Okay.
it is long overdue.
Mariah, do you have? Please mercifully end this part of the podcast. Do you have anything else that you would like to add about Best Picture?
I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of these. I can talk about animated feature film. I've
Okay.
watched some of those.
Well, like I guess we maybe since we were talking about Black Klansman, we should add with this. Marie, you and I were watching a wonderful interview that the Today Show did with Spike Lee last week, and Spike was saying that he still to this day harbors a little bit of animosity, considering that he thought "Do the Right Thing" was probably to this day still his best film. It lost
It didn't.
For
As
Best
far as I
Picture.
know, it didn't even get nominated.
No, it lost to Driving Miss Daisy.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
He felt
Are
short-
you have your facts?
He felt short about that. Well, we'll look at
Is this factually correct?
but he just thought, if I was going to lose to any movie because of the cultural significance and and the image it creates, he lost to Driving Miss Daisy. They said how ironic would be this year that Black Klansman is up and he has the potential to possibly lose to Green Book, a story about a white man who is driving an African American man.
Which Green Book also, I think that both Mahershala Ali and help me out here, the other actor,
Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah.
Viggo Mortensen, they're both nominated, and I thought that both of their performances were phenomenal. It was a great. I think
Viggo-
the acting really
Viggo
was.
Mortensen, I've never really been sold on as a strong dramatic actor. I mean, I'm glad he got this thing, but I mean,
He's been doing really well though.
No, but he
I've
kind
seen.
of played like a knucklehead kind of guy.
Yeah.
Who was really like a soft, and he got in touch with like his through Mahershala Ali's character. He helped him get in touch with like his soft side, to have more compassion, and he learned a lot through the experience of driving him around.
I just always thought, I mean, I guess his career can be considered, he's got progress because, he was doing like G.I. Jane and Young Guns 2, and then he did Return of, he did the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy. What was his name in Lord of the Rings?
I don't even remember.
He was the king.
Aragorn? Is that
Yeah.
him? I'm sorry. You need to talk to Andy.
That's
about
kind of like
that.
way back, yeah. Wow.
But he was great though.
But good for him. Okay, so that is best.
And Mahershala Ali, he just kills it every time.
Yeah,
he's
does
already
really
he
well.
won. Yeah, he's already
Moonlight,
won.
right?
He won for Moonlight.
Yeah, very, very talented actor. I mean, I only became aware of him when House of Cards came out because he was the lobbyist.
He's right now on True Detective too.
Yeah. Which I've heard is very good. Okay,
Yeah.
so those were the Best Picture nominees. Remember, 5 of them are showing at Tango Theaters. We cannot say this enough. $20 will let you watch Bohemian Rhapsody over and over and over. Klansman, Vice, A Star Is Born, and The Favorite. It's only $20 and that goes until Sunday. So please do check out our friends at Tango Theaters and help them out and educate yourself. Get your facts way more straight than we have. Okay, what is we doing Best Actor, Best Actress?
Yeah.
Okay.
Want to.
Best actor in a leading role. Okay, we have Christian Bale for Vice. That was a huge transformation.
Yeah, everyone
Christian
says, and again, I haven't seen it yet, but as Dick Cheney, they said he
Yeah.
was. He's already won the Golden Globe.
I mean, just look at him
Keep
right
that
here.
in mind.
Yeah, he looks unrecognizable. You're like, why does he look familiar? But
Yeah,
I
you
can't
would
really
never know that was
pinpoint it.
Christian.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe because of the nose, it kind of like gives him away. It's like that could be Christian Bale. It's like.
So
I'm putting
with
together
that
matters
said,
of
were they
public
nominated
policy.
for? Let me look. Are they nominated for makeup?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then
Okay, so
maybe
actor in a leading-
that shows.
Christian
that-
Bale for Vice, Rami Malek, of course, the aforementioned for Bohemian Rhapsody.
I believe it's Rami, Jace.
Rami, I'm sorry. Bradley Cooper for A Star Is Born, Viggo Mortensen, who we've talked about for Green Book, and then Willem Dafoe for At Eternity's Gate. I hope Willem Dafoe gets something. He's been a very, very good actor for a very long
See,
time.
there we go again by judging. But I at that same token, I think he can do no wrong. He always does really well, and he always plays these like compelling characters. So,
And this is about Van Gogh.
he played Van Gogh.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I've seen the
Wow.
trailer, and it is sad because we know that Van Gogh story of he was tortured during his time when he was alive. People didn't like his paintings, so like just seeing that in the trailer, I'm like, oh, this is not going to be a feel good movie.
So in this sense, it's a biopic.
Yeah,
He typically tends to do like support. I mean, not necessarily on paper supporting roles, but he does them and let somebody else, let one of his co-stars get more of the limelight. Like he did that when he was in the Jack Ryan movies based on the Tom Clancy books.
He was nominated for, or did he?
When he was in
win?
Spider-Man, he was the antagonist, but he wasn't,
his role
The
still
main
freaks
guy.
me out. As a kid,
As Green
I
Goblin?
was, I was
he
afraid.
plays
yeah, I was
plays a
afraid of
villain
him.
really well.
I'm still
He-
afraid of him in that
What's
movie.
that?
Would you even say that this is Bradley Cooper's best role
In Stars Born,
in A Star Is Born?
it's different than what I've seen him in.
Because I really liked him in American Sniper.
Oh, I didn't
He was
really-
really
I
good in
don't
American
care
Sniper.
for American
I think he was nominated for that, right? I remember 1 year.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
was-
and
yeah,
that
we
actually
talked
won
about
Best Picture.
Oh, it did.
You know, Yeah, I don't know. I liked him in the film, but I think
he's really funny
his
too.
Best.
Have you ever seen like Bradley Cooper's like comedic chops? Like remember when he did a Wet Hot American Summer? He was really funny in that.
Oh yeah, Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
When I watched that, I was like, this is Bradley Cooper, really? Like it's so strange to see him in that.
And you know what's crazy? He did not attend his college graduation because
because of that movie.
He went straight to the camp and like I think it was like upstate New York or something like that.
Yep.
And they filmed it.
It's just weird to see him in that. And then he came back for one of the other, like the second kind of part of the Wet Hot American Summer. So it's weird seeing him doing, what he's been doing and then seeing him in that. It's like, what?
Okay, so without really saying who the front runner is, I would say Christian Bale probably has the most gravitas going into this because he's Christian Bale. At present, he's probably like the highest profile star we have on this list.
But Rami Malek got a lot of acclaim, and he really
he's got the people's
embodied
vote.
Yeah,
I think if this was purely like an online thing and people could vote or text in their votes and everything like that, Rami Malek
like I think he took really good care of Freddie Mercury. Like Sacha Baron Cohen would not have done as well as Rami Malek, because Rami Malek, he took really good care of his responsibility as playing Freddie Mercury. Like he was very humble about it. And like what he did, he got to know the members of Queen,
and he studied. I think there was like a mashup on YouTube or on some viral, where they pitted the two Live Aid, the actual one versus the one in the movie, and it was just like every single movement was like,
and again,
you could tell he studied
such a big part. I mean, aside from like his immeasurable voice, a big part of Freddie's performance was always his body language.
Yeah, he was such a great showman.
Yeah.
Fun fact, do you know Lady Gaga, her stage name that she uses, Gaga, came from
Radio Gaga?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
She said early in her career, producer said, you have a lot of energy and showmanship, and so they named her after. Yeah.
Very nice.
That's cool.
Trivia.
Okay, so and I would say that Willem Dafoe probably has maybe the sympathetic vote just because he deserves it as an actor, maybe from the Academy. Like, who exactly is the Academy? Because and what's the difference between the Oscars and the Golden Globes? Because the Golden Globes is like highly criticized for
the Golden Globes is the Hollywood Foreign Press Commission. So they're made up of people within the International Press Corps of entertainment news. So they're more of the critics and journalists, and whereas the Academy are made up of people in the industry, from former nominees, they're different actors, so it's kind of like you're truly being voted on by your peers. But with that said, I'm sure, and I'm not an insider, but there's a lot of politics that go into it. I know there's a lot of lobbying that goes on, and
which is kind of
when
why
I used to live in LA, you'd see like people take out ads in the trades and billboards that say, for your consideration, please vote for so and so.
Which is why I really think that when Black Panther's up for Best Picture, that's kind of Disney kind of exerting its considerable muscle.
But I'm telling you, again, watch that Vanity Fair piece. I'm going to give you the link.
Yes. Okay.
Trying to sway you.
Okay. So let's go around the room, and Uncle Ken, we'd love your thoughts on this too. Okay, who will
since
win?
He said that you would only vote for Frank Sinatra.
Who will win for Best Picture? I'm sorry, for Best Actor.
I don't know.
We're still. I mean, again, it's hard to say because we haven't seen all of these movies. I've only seen, I don't know. I'm willing to bet that because he's been kind of sweeping
Three
awards.
of these are
Rami
biopics.
Malek. Yeah.
3 of these are biopics, which means that
it gives you something to compare at least, right?
Yeah.
If you're a voting member.
Yeah, and if you do it right, that gives you a huge advantage, I would think, over playing something. Like Mariah said, you've got Willem Dafoe playing Vincent Van Gogh, the earless one, and Christian Bale playing the vice president. That's tough.
All right. And that's a really recent kind of...
And also because Rami Malek is like a relative newbie on the scene. He's not a household name.
Yeah.
But what is he? He's won the Golden Globe Silver?
Yeah, he's won
and then a SAG award, I believe.
Yeah.
And maybe some others.
He's won for Mr. Robot. He's won a Golden Globe for Mr. Robot.
I'm going to say it's
going
to be Rami Malek just because,
I think so too. I mean, whether we think that... he should be the winner or not. I think that.
I think he's.
What do you got?
And he did not do bad. He did really excellent in the.
Hi, I'm Batman. That guy's gonna win.
Okay.
Talk about diversity and acting. That guy's got it all, man.
So Christian Bale gets Uncle Ken's vote.
He's gonna get
it. Okay.
And you
Now-
owe me lunch.
You
if
know,
he does.
again, yeah, and then we're talking about the political climate. Christian Bale actually won a Golden Globe this year too
Oh, wow.
for this role.
Has
Because Golden Globe splits, like, I think it's musical or comedy,
Yeah, and then drama.
dramatic. So that's why, yeah, they weren't in the same category, him and Rami Malek. Whereas the Oscars is just Best Actor.
Okay, fair enough. All right, now for the ladies. Actress in a leading role, Yalitza Aparicio for Roma. Glenn Close for The Wife. Has Glenn Close ever won?
She won. I think she won a Golden Globe for The Wife.
For The Wife, yeah.
Has she ever won
has.
Best Actress as an Oscar? I would hope she would have won for.
I would think so, right?
Oh,
She's
why
been
can I not
doing-
remember that?
Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction,
See,
yeah.
I know how to read your mind.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're
Okay,
thinking.
Olivia Colman for The Favorite. Lady Gaga for A Star Is Born, who again probably is going to be the heartfelt favorite, and Melissa McCarthy for Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Is that when the movie's showing?
No,
Oh, okay. Well, it may be on
Okay.
iTunes or on demand now, so I'll
I
check
say,
it out.
I want to root for Melissa McCarthy only because I think to this point in her career, she is talented. She can be very funny, but she gets so unfairly judged and dismissed because everybody thinks
She's funny.
She's a female version of the late Chris Farley.
Oh, but she's
She's just a fat person that runs around doing physical comedy, and a lot of it is, look at me, running into things and like bulling a china shop and making overweight jokes,
Well,
which is really unfair
then
because
this
clearly
could be considered a crossover.
yeah, clearly she has acting chops.
Yeah.
And she's very funny. And she's very talented.
I love her. She's my favorite actress.
However, anytime you go head to head with Glenn Close in anything,
Though I have some stats on Glenn Close.
That's Glenn freaking Close.
She's never won an Oscar.
Oh, really?
She has been nominated 7 times. She has more nominations without a win than any other living actor, and holds the record for being the most. So she's kind of like the
Susan Lucci
or the anti Meryl Streep, because it seems like whenever
Mariah has no idea who Susan Lucci is.
Oh, I know who she is.
Oh, you do? Okay.
yeah, that's interesting.
Susan Lucci still
And
hasn't
you know
aged
what?
a
I
day.
haven't seen The Wife, but she's just getting all these accolades for it too.
I'm pulling for Melissa McCarthy only because I want, like, in the same way that I was trying to allude before, I was like, if Sacha Baron Cohen had played Freddie Mercury, could we actually now view him
Differently.
in a much different light and not just, as the very acerbic comedic guy and everything like that? I would like to actually see this transform her career. That having been said, from what I've been reading and everything, Lady Gaga is...
I don't know. I feel like the fact
How many
that
movies has she been in?
This is her
her first.
one.
You know, her first acting role was when she was a teenager. She had a bit part. I don't even know if it was a speaking role. She was like an unruly teenager on The Sopranos
Oh, wow.
with
Ah.
I can't remember the name of the character.
Well-
the son. They snuck into a public pool, and there was a bunch of them.
She is Italian.
Yeah. So,
Stephanie Germanotta. That's her real name.
but I feel like if Glenn Close.
I'm sorry. Marie, can you mind reaching over and pick that up? Because I just seem to have dropped knowledge.
For the first time ever.
Ooh.
But anyway,
Who didn't see that coming?
I feel like if this were a year where Glenn Close wasn't nominated and so favored to win, that Lady Gaga would have a much better chance. But what's the trend that's been happening with a lot of these awards is that Glenn Close is kind of sweeping them.
Yeah.
And I think that A Star Is Born is really also sweeping the best song category. So more
So they're
than
willing
any,
to give a little bit more.
well, I don't know how it goes, but I just feel like, that, like Asha said, she was great in it, and she showed that she's just such a well-rounded entertainer, and she can do it all. But
Does she really
she's up
sell
against
that
Glenn
role,
Close.
though?
yeah,
I mean,
But
okay.
against the Glenn Close, so with Glenn Close being the favored one. Huh.
And she's not just a performer. She's not just a struggling musician who's finding success. She's also very, very troubled. So she's got to take that into her character, right? Which is not an easy part to play.
not really. She's not really troubled.
And I've kind of said I would love to see like Snoop Dogg do, a variety like of roles because a lot of the roles he winds up playing, like, you know, when he was in Training Day and everything like that, he was the gangbanger. He was the, you know.
Can you always like weave in this obscure like all these analogies?
No, and I love Snoop as an actor. And I would just like to see him like brought in almost like Ice Cube has. Ice Cube is a fantastic actor, and it's because he's tried the different roles and he's tried like comedy and everything like that. And that's why I would like to see like if Gaga does.
I think the people, like a lot of people who
then again, it's her first movie,
who aren't huge Lady Gaga fans, they know her as this performance artist, which she totally is, right? She comes up with these different costumes and styles of performing. But when you look at this, it's just stripped down.
She's different.
She's supposed to be like the girl next door that just, you know, she's very extremely talented, but for different reasons never had a record deal or anything. She's just a plain Jane, and she does that good, right? It's effortless. It's not, you know, they strip it all away, and she does a really good job.
May I ask now, when you guys watch that movie, do you look at her performing on screen, and do you see Gaga, or do you actually see her character?
Yeah, that's what you're just saying. That she. I mean, I don't see her. I just see her as see the Gaga over the top Gaga, not at all.
It's not like when Mariah Carey, not Mariah Ramos. I almost said
I can't act or sing.
Yeah, when Mariah Carey played Glitter, everybody was like, "Okay, it's Mariah Carey."
Jason,
No, that's what I'm saying.
You can't compare the two.
That's
Glitter. That's like what on
my point exactly.
Collecting dust on a DVD shelf somewhere. It's not even good enough to have like a resurgence via
Rewind
cable.
to the beginning of this YouTube video or SoundCloud
Come up with a better example.
This is the hell that is my life. I got to deal with this like 10 hours a day, man. And I get paid for it too.
I'm gonna like strap you into a seat and make you watch all these Oscar contenders so you could have a like relevant.
And you're gonna pry my eyelids open. Oh yeah,
because you're bringing up examples from like 20 years ago.
Okay, do you realize the hypocrisy in that statement? You're gonna strap me down to a chair and you're gonna pry my eyelids open, making me watch TV. Okay, A Clockwork Orange. Thank you very much. Boom! Ha ha! All right.
Which again came out before we were born.
Yeah. Okay, so are we going to stop there, or should we do? Well, we got time for I think one more category.
Okay, we don't need to talk about song, right? Because
we already know.
Even Asha's on the other side of the camera today. But what is going to win for best song?
Shallow.
But I think Lady Gaga could get an EGOT soon.
Really? Is she? Oh, if she gets
an Emmy.
What is she doing?
She's on TV, and I think she goes back. Oh, she has to do a Tony first, but then
I was like, she's won a Tony.
I mean, she could. I mean, she could totally write a musical, and it would just do really well.
Yeah.
But she might even get an Oscar, and then she got a Grammy.
Did she get an Emmy? She got a Golden Globe for American Horror Story. Yeah. But I don't know if she got an Emmy.
I don't know if she got an Emmy though. But maybe she could easily get an Emmy.
Let's do
soon.
Ladies' Choice.
She will in her lifetime. Yeah. You know another thing? She's only 32 or 33.
Yeah,
she's young.
So
she's that young?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I think she can get an EGOT pretty soon.
Let's have
I'm gonna put my money on
Ladies'
that.
Choice for the Mariah. You can pick any category, and for our final category, because we're coming up on 50 minutes, and we can knock. Okay, you said you want to do animated film, right?
Yes.
Please enlighten us.
Spider-Verse. Done.
Done.
Okay, bye.
They were saying this has actually been like the best animated film ever.
Yeah. It's really good.
I've heard really good things about it.
Okay, how is the quality of the animation though? Because I'm thinking
it is trippy.
You can't beat Finding Nemo. I mean, is it a combination of what's supposed to look like hand-drawn animation and CGI?
Yeah, it's to bring it back to the comics. I mean, I've never read the comics, sorry. But, I know people who've read the comics, who love the comics, who, but this movie is amazing.
But you know what I've heard? And again, like, what is the criteria for animation, right? Does it have to do with the story itself? Because I've heard so many wonderful things about the story and how it's such a departure from other animated superhero films.
See, I'm looking at it on a technical level. It's like how good is the animation?
A young boy. Yeah, so and again, maybe that's something to research. Like, is it based on the animation factor or is it based on everything? Like the whole, like the storyline, because the protagonist is like a young boy.
Yeah,
right,
and it's different. It's different from what we've seen of Spider-Man. We know Peter Parker. But Miles Morales is different because he's a mixed race Spider-Man. Both of his parents are alive. So, it's a different story than what we know of Peter Parker.
And Spider-Pig is in there as well, right?
Yeah. So, I don't know how they managed to do that, but it's hilarious.
Spider-Pig.
John Mulaney voices him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
John Mulaney, the former writer of Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
I dropped another one if you would, please.
But like what they did with, all the different Spider-Men coming together to save the universe, it was really cool what they did and the different stories that we got. And just the animation style as well is really, really well done.
Okay, interesting.
That's why I think it's probably going to win.
But I think, to Marie's point, it's like one of the reasons why Pixar has basically owned this category for like going on 2 decades is because of the
story.
The technical... No, I was going to say the technical achievement that they always... I mean, Pixar always one-ups themselves with every single production they do. Yeah. They were like, okay, let's do A Bug's Life. Now let's do Cars. Now let's do, Toys... Or they did Toy Story prior to all of that. And
so
then
what's
now
more impressive, like using that kind of tech or... someone like Wes Anderson, who's nominated for the Isle of Dogs, who uses a very age-old style of stop motion.
That's cool.
And tells
almost
the
like a
Harryhausen style. That style of I'm really impressed by those Wes Anderson.
Yeah, that one's really
the Isle of Dogs. So
it's a damn shame that that movie that's out right now is not up for Best Animated Film. What's Alita?
Oh,
it's Alita, right?
Would that be animated?
I don't know how they would.
I would hope
that
so.
as.
It's like a mix, and there's different. That's a new. I don't know. That's kind of like a subgenre.
And you and I grew up on the Disney, the real life mixed with, kind of like the Mary Poppins and the Bedknobs and Broomsticks, where you've got half live action, half animated.
Is that? I think it's just how much more of it is. I don't know. I don't know the criteria for
I don't know
animated.
And the fact that so many people
we need to do our homework before we do it.
No, so many people are citing, as Mariah just did with Spider-Verse, over Incredibles 2, which is insane.
That was a really good movie too, but I think Spider-Verse
wasn't nominated, right?
Oh, it's nominated.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That was a really good movie too. I love that one. But
so that would be your choice because you said Pixar can do no wrong.
No, but from what I've been reading and everything, like Spider-Verse is the clear favorite, like running away. Yeah. It's like there's this huge margin between number 1 and number 2.
Yeah.
They already they won a Golden Globe as well. I don't know if that has any bearing on anything.
I think they won a SAG too.
Oh, so I
think so. They're kind of sweeping the animated part of the awards shows.
Okay, so this has been fun. I leave with a shred of my dignity than when we started an hour ago. So thank you. You could have done much more. This could have gone wrong in 50,000 different ways.
This is a long one too, right? Compared to your typical podcast.
Yeah, and trust us when we say that there are many, many more categories. And Mariah, you said there's a lot of categories that are being actually left out this year. Please shed light on that for a sec.
Actually, they redacted that statement. They're going to put it in.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that this morning on the Today Show.
It was like cinematography, makeup, and what was the other one? Editing?
They were going to give them away during the breaks. Yeah. But they got so much flack from like the
people
Academy
in Hollywood,
and people in Hollywood that they were saying no. But now it's now ABC has to deal with, okay, then that's going to mean we're going to have probably like a 6-hour broadcast. So it's always that, and then you want to give people their when they do win the award to come up and give a speech and give them some time. So,
but of all the categories to...
Yeah, because, without those categories, there wouldn't be the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, cinematography?
Yeah, cinematography. Yep.
You studied cinematography. Is there any more skill, more vital?
No, but I feel like it's not Hollywood enough, right? Yeah. It's kind of like
it's very technical.
Like in sports, right? Like offense gets the glory, defense wins. It's kind of the thing. Like they are like the
and she's criticizing me for using like these. You realize you just quoted Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dennis Rodman from Double Take, didn't you?
Yeah, but they didn't come up with that, right? Isn't that like a whole sports adage? Like
that's where everybody knows it from.
Okay, well, anyway, so I'm saying
offense gets the glory, but defense wins the game.
But they're the cinematographers are the unsung heroes of film.
Absolutely.
Like without that, what would the film be?
It's the director, the director of photography, and the cinematographer. Three different guys.
It's just like in like in broadcast journalism. If a reporter has like an amazing story and they go out with a photographer who forgets to white balance or focus, they're coming back to to put the story together and like. They'll probably like just give it to the photographer editor because it's like they just screwed up this really great story they had, and so that's why I'm
going to plead the fifth on whether or not that's happened to me over the course of my career. Okay.
Speaking from trying to make it relatable.
So, ladies, thank you so much. This has been thoroughly enjoyable. Mariah, thank you so much for your insight and your expertise.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Marie, thank you once again.
You're welcome.
We're
I'm
probably
happy
gonna
to fill in for Ken, but I probably can't do it too often because we just go.
and well,
head to
we're
head.
gonna have, trust me, we're gonna have like 15 more of these conversations today
In the hallway around the water cooler.
Okay,
right?
so once again, A Day at the Oscars is the second year that our friends at Tango Theaters, who graciously and generously support this podcast, they've got it going on right now through the 24th. Only $20. So you know what? Just go to the ATM. Just press fast cash. Just do 20. It's only a single 20.
And then you can go and comment on weigh in on what you think. Maybe
Yeah.
you can shut us all down.
And please, we would
after
love to hear your
watching it.
feedback because we have certainly given you enough filler material to go off on. Once again, the promo also includes 50% off, half off on the Filler Up Cup combo, which can only be purchased for $5 if you take advantage of that offer. It's going to be the Micronesia Mall Theaters. I will be there. Marie will be there. Mariah's going to be there. Asha's only going to be there to watch A Star Is Born. She's going to watch it like 19 times, adding to the...
Bohemian Rhapsody too.
And Bohemian Rhapsody. And maybe she's going to watch Titanic 6 more times in the theater. You know.
Yeah. I'll watch A Star Is Born for the sixth time.
Basically, you're
too.
never going to see the rest of us at work this week. So the KRAM Podcast Network will be very, very vacant for the next couple of days. I'm just kidding. We'll be here. We love bringing these shows to you, and make sure to subscribe and rate us and review us because we really love doing this for you each and every day. I'm Jason Salas. Thank you so much, Uncle Ken. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. See you at the movies, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.